visited a nice restaurant, and you all had an entree of very thoroughly cooked dwarves. Because you murdered them.
Delicious.
All of them. Actually, one got away, but you murdered like 90% of them. You blew up a cart with a lot of gunpowder, which probably made quite the noise. And sounds like there's some some tension in the party.
It's hot.
Is there?
Yeah, sexual.
No, it is definitely not sexual.
I have my doubts that it is sexual. But
Whoa.
we start
Murder.
where you left off.
Dolarian goes to Melody. Was that necessary?
I just asked a question.
You know, some questions might make people angry.
I can see that now.
And I feel like they've made very clear that they didn't want to talk about that.
That's a fair point.
So, could you please, next time, at least, consider asking us if it's a good idea to do something like that?
I will try.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Part of me wishes we could have saved at least some of the gunpowder. And perhaps it was better. Well, we've not made much progress today. Perhaps we move on.
Fine.
Is everyone all right?
I don't know, am I?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're pretty alright.
Okay.
You have some bruises, some superficial wounds, but for the most part you're holding together pretty well.
Still, it's probably a good idea to take a good long rest.
We've made no progress today, I think.
I mean, we've walked a bit, couple hours.
Exactly. That's no progress. I think we should continue.
We should rest. We should probably do it elsewhere. Perhaps clearing close by. I do not want to know what our escapades have attracted on here.
Not to be morbid, but since the deed is already done, shouldn't we perhaps, I don't know, search them to try and figure out if they were indeed up to nefarious things?
A red shrugs. Be my guess.
Out of character, I already know people have searched the dwarves. But in character, I do not know this, so I'm gonna go do that. Anyone who has searched the dwarves and just heard me say I'm gonna go search the dwarves for things should probably let me know. Thank you, babes.
Nah. They all stare at you blankly as you go to search the charred remains of the caravan.
Would you like a roll for this,
Give
sir?
me an investigation roll.
Well, I definitely searched the caravan, I didn't search the dwarves.
That's 10.
You don't really find anything noteworthy on them. You can see again that their armor has this symbol on them engraved,
Okay.
looking like a green emerald.
I'm gonna look back at the group and
Aren't emeralds always green? Sorry.
not
Yes,
necessarily.
so when I tell you about a blue emerald, you know something's off.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna look back at the group and say, does anyone have paper and like charcoal or something?
Draco will nod and walk over.
I'm gonna lay the paper flat over the symbol and try to make like one of the you know the thing you do with
Yes.
like leaves and stuff. I want to make
An impression.
one of those. You know, like a charcoal rubbing kind of thing of those to get the picture.
Chiffre. Yeah, you make a copy of the symbol.
Then I'm just gonna, after searching and doing this and getting out, we're just gonna ask for Galarian to, I don't know, pray for them or whatever.
Yeah, as you approach him, he's already... Looks like he's already whispering something.
Oh, well then I won't bother you and just assume that's probably what you're doing. Sick. And I guess I'll not dare it.
Well, in that case, let's just move on.
Are you alright, Telsa? Did you get hurt?
No.
Good.
Fine.
At least something good today.
As you continue along your path, you step past a very, very strongly smelling corpse of one of the dwarves. It's still steaming, in fact, and looks like the dwarf has been thoroughly cooked.
Oh.
The smell of that burnt flesh doesn't leave you for a bit as you step away from the open road and back into the underbrush of the forest.
Does
You
it
travel
smell?
for... Yes?
Does it smell good though?
Actually,
me-
cooked human.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Smelling.
Give me a wisdom roll.
Oh god.
No.
I mean,
Wisdom.
especially if it's like birds. and all.
Natural one.
Oh. First roll of the night.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I just rolled.
Turns out
You-
the lion's cannibal.
You know that burnt human smells a little bit like burnt pork. This one, however, it smells a little bit more gamey. Almost a little bit earthy in smell. And it reminds me of a roast game you had once. It was baked in this mud that completely encased all of the flavor. And you're just sort of taken back in that memory until you realize what you're actually thinking about. And you're a little bit disgusted with yourself.
Yeah, that's what I
If
was
you
about to
had-
say. I'm disgusted
you
with
had-
myself.
If you had any divine inspiration, you lose it.
Ah!
Shut up!
That was so funny.
Chat wasn't popping up fast
We're
enough.
not even desperate for food yet, and we're already thinking about eating people. I cannot believe.
That was me, that wasn't Dolarian. He just smelled it and was reminded of something, okay? And he's disgusted, you know?
I think that's worse.
You
What I
move
miss?
through the forest again, a little bit slower than you did just before the encounter. All of you are a little bit tired from what happened. And some of you are a little bit in thought. The travel ahead will take you 2 more days. And I would ask one of you to please roll 2d20 for me.
Who wants to
I shall
roll?
do it.
Okay. I trust in you.
You shouldn't. Oh, I suppose that's not too bad.
It depends on what you're rolling for.
And then
7 and 17.
all
These
of
are
the
the
people,
encounters.
all of the people that keep watch, please give me a perception roll.
Okay. I keep watch.
Are we all
Oh,
keeping watch?
not bad.
At some
That's
point,
a
I guess at some
20
point
not
we're all taking watch.
I always keep watch.
Because you have a keen mind.
11.
I have a keen mind.
If only you had keen judgment.
Very, very keen mind.
That's a 19.
Natural 20, which turns into 19, wow.
Keith is just after all the experience points from killing monks.
Moment.
Yeah.
The days and nights pass by without anything unusual occurring close by. However, usually you have a very firm grasp on how long it's been, how long lies ahead. But oddly enough, even though you know the exact number of hours, days, and weeks you've traveled, it feels like you've been on the road for a year.
Hmm.
Without sleep to give you sort of a routine, it seems like time is just slowed and stretched for you.
Into a moment.
For but a moment.
Ah.
You trek through the woods for a few more hours. Your clothes are slowly beginning to smell from the damp atmosphere and from your traveling over long distances.
Is there like a river or something we come across?
It's okay. I cast
There seems to be
prestidigitation.
very little in terms of fresh water nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just gonna prestidigitate everyone?
Yeah.
Why not?
What do
Rings?
you do with
Yeah.
the
Fair.
prestidigitation?
Make everyone's clothes not smell.
You
Fair.
can only do 3
And
at a
clean
time.
'em.
You could just clean them.
Yeah.
And they won't
Clean
be
'em.
that smelly boys.
Nice.
Cleaning them. Unlike Mr. Clean.
Do you clean their clothes or do you try cleaning
Yeah.
them as well?
We are a bunch of
I
dirty boys.
thing. Can I use it on? I mean, I can only clean people a foot at a time.
That's why I'm asking.
I guess. Sure.
Give me a constitutional.
Okay.
Gosh.
He's basically casting it like 100 times.
I mean, it's only a cantrip.
Yes.
It's the
but
magic.
You are
Ooh. From natural 20 to
So-
natural 1.
Yeah.
Give me a 1d4.
A 1d4.
I'm
The
guessing
result
since we
is
did-
halved and rounded up.
What? Half, so 2?
Well,
You
it's
die.
tiring. Extremely. You have a large party and you're trying to clean them as the damp, the clothes, and just tracking through the forest. They are sweating almost constantly. You gain 1 level of exhaustion.
What?
Oh my god.
What? It's a
Get
cantrip!
fucked.
Oh my god.
But you're casting it for
It is still an
hours.
action. You can hit a tree for the same action. But imagine hitting a tree 100 times a day while you're traveling.
Also, it's got a somatic component, so you're just next to us waving your arms about.
Oh god. Fuck, now I have disadvantage on like everything.
I'm guessing since we did all the perception checks, we also have gotten long rests and such.
Yes, speaking of which, during your long rest moment, you may give me an answer constitution save.
God. Fuck.
You're
Is
trying
this
real
separate
hard to
to
kill
the
him.
precipitation?
Natural 20!
Skills.
You, in your rest, manage to expel this exhaustion from your body. Though during that time, you pay very little attention.
Oh, no.
Do you continue casting prestidigitation
No.
on the next day?
No! Absolutely not.
Well,
Do it, pussy.
the smell and the sweat from all of you has significantly decreased due to a moment's work, but well, you wonder how much it's doing, how long it is gonna last, because you still have quite the trek ahead of you.
Rune,
Yeah.
are we bad people?
What?
Because we just killed a bunch of those dwarves with... We didn't ask what they were doing, or they didn't tell us. Could have been helping someone. We just killed them all.
Is this your first time killing people?
Not counting the things we killed in the cave, yeah.
Look, you're right, they could have been good people just doing their jobs. It's part of why I got the rubbing of the symbol on their armor, so that I might be able to ask about it later. But the fact of the matter is, they attacked us, and when you get attacked, it doesn't matter if they're good or bad. You defend you and your people. You do what you have to survive. And if it turns out that we were wrong, then we do what we can to make it right. It's too late to go back now, so if you find out that you've done something bad, you make up for it. That's what separates good and bad people.
But they're still dead.
You're right, and they can never be undead. Well, not in an actual sense. I mean, I suppose they could.
Does does Solarian here?
Give me a perception roll.
I beg to differ, good.
No,
You
no.
turn down your mic sensitivity just a tad bit.
Okay.
It's just picking up like a lot of like background noises.
Yeah,
Per-
you
Perception is a
definitely-
non-natural 20. You'd,
Is this any better?
if anyone sees Dularian in that moment, you can just see a very slight smile on his face. Very slight.
Not in Delarian. I mean, I guess in Delarian's way, but not in a real sense. But Rune kind of pauses to think for a minute, and after a hard moment of silence and thought, continues with, the world is made up of complicated things. I don't, maybe some people are pure bad, like certain people that are gone now, but I like to believe that most of us are just both good and bad, just people running around doing what we have to. So I can't tell you based on your morals if you think that we're bad, but I think we're survivors. And we did what we had to do in that time.
I boiled a man in his armor.
I will admit that's a little unorthodox as far as survival tactics go. But at the same time, if you hadn't and he killed one of us, would that have made it somehow better? You used the tactics you had. Maybe some of them were a little gruesome, but they got the job done, and they kept you and us alive.
But we should learn from our mistakes.
Well, hopefully we have.
Just got a whistle in the background.
But Dolarian is also looking at Rune.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's fair. like you wanna say something, or like you're just being like, you should learn from your mistakes? Like, which kind
No,
of
it's not only looking at Rune, looking at almost all the people in this group. No, mostly Melody, Rune, and Draco.
Yeah, like, I think all of us have stuff to learn still. Draco, though, not to be prude, you do know this isn't going to be the last time this trip. We're probably going to have to kill people.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I don't want to torture anyone else.
Well, I never said we were going to fuck you, like. I mean, listen, things happen. And you realize that could also happen again. I'm not trying to be morbid or scary. I just want to make sure that you're aware of the possibilities of what might happen.
I'll try.
Draco, even in the old scriptures, they say, none so good that he has no faults, and none so wicked that he is worth naught. So, you shouldn't let yourself down too much. There's always something you can do better in the future.
I think there are some people that are wicked enough that they should be for naught or whatever.
Or nut.
Is that really what Melody contributes to this conversation?
No. Not at all.
I wouldn't be too surprised.
Okay, we're gonna say with like a pointed glare at Delirium.
It's just in moments, just like the old girl.
How do we even know she is a girl? Does her voice sound female?
I mean, she's told us she
Yes.
identifies as female.
Okay.
Yes, and I have realized I made a mistake there. After reading up something.
She doesn't?
She does. Okay, I might need to retcon something. However, just go with it. It worked. Amnesia.
Perfect.
We can talk about it later if you like. Do you settle down for your long rest?
Yes, I guess.
Hey, Galarian,
Yes.
do you want to try making a stew?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see what we've got. And he pulls out a turnip.
the one and only.
Turnip.
I'm gonna glare at, I'm gonna narrow my eyes at the turnip and raise my brow questioningly.
Give me an investigation roll. Rune.
Oh, okay. I swear to God, if I notice again that it's the exact same turnip, I'm not going through this situation twice. 18.
It's kind of weird. You don't remember bringing more than one turnip. Where the hell did Draco get another turnip?
Oh yeah, I think we ate it last time already, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna raise my brow and be like, where did you get that?
It just turned up.
Excuse me?
It just turned up.
In my bag, I think. No, in the pot. When we got the pot.
Is
It was just in there.
the pot magic?
Not
Maybe the
when I got
turnip's
it.
magic.
Do we really want to eat a magic turnip? I'm
You
not
already have.
eating that.
I'm gonna check my bag. I'm gonna check my bag for the carrots I gave him last time. To see if they reappear too.
No, there's no
Okay.
carrots. Almost
Can I-
disappointingly.
Hmm.
Can I conduct a study on this turnip to see if it holds any arcane properties?
How do you study it? You just
I would like to cut open the turnip, see what's inside, see if I can recognize anything similar to ley lines in the roots.
Can I cast detect magic?
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
It's a
so
turnip of annihilation.
you see Draco just put down the turnip and just sort of start slicing it open, and it looks like a normal turnip. There's nothing extraordinary about this turnip at all. And please, Aspen, give me a perception roll.
I have keen mind. Is does this turnip look the exact
It is.
same
Yeah.
7.
as the previous turnip?
Give me an investigation roll.
I have keen mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's has it been a month since we were down here?
That's a 13, I think.
I mean, you didn't really study the other turnip. You didn't really make a mental picture of it. It kind of looks like a turnip, but you know, all turnips kind of look the same.
I'm gonna study this
So-
turnip.
It's probably definitely the same kind of turnip, but
Turnip sensei.
How do you call racism for vegetables?
as you detect magic on this turnip rune, you feel absolutely nothing. It
This
is
is just
as mundane a turnip as you've ever seen.
Is the pot magic?
Do you detect magic on the pot?
Yes, I've looked before detect magics.
Doesn't detect magic last
It
for
works
10
on a
minutes?
radius. Like you can just.
Does
flick
it?
Depends
Good.
on whether, yes. Do you ritual cast it or do you expend a
I
spell?
have an innate ability
Ah.
where basically it's the
Is it the seeing colors thing?
yeah.
Magic synesthesia.
Well, if you examine the pot thoroughly, it's pretty dented. There's so much soot on it on the bottom that you're not even sure how it even heats up anymore. Perhaps you should give it a
Hey,
good clean
Draco cleans
sometime.
his pot regularly with magic.
Okay.
Yeah, prestidigitation.
He has both mending and prestidigitation. That is the most spick and span pot that exists on
I
the
was about to say, Rune was
In
about. I
fact,
was
you've
about to
never
get my-
seen a pot so clean.
Damn, I almost got my Rune doesn't look impressed line in for today. I have to find
Ah.
another place. Yeah,
Don't worry, I'm
Rune,
sure an opportunity will arise.
Rune is very suspicious of this turnip and declares that they refuse to eat it.
I will eat it.
Well, I'm gonna put it in the stew, so you're just not gonna have any stew?
I'm sure that I will survive somehow.
Can you hunt us some meat again, if you would?
Sure.
Thanks.
You need any help, Rune?
Yeah, you can come with me if you'd like. You're good at hunting.
Although, will I miss something about the stew while I'm gone?
I'm just gonna boil some water and wait.
That would be nice. Great. Then I'm gonna go hunt it.
You're literally gonna miss watching water
boil
boil.
water?
Damn, that was my favorite bit.
They say about what they say about watch pots. Anyway, going hunting. Let me look at that feature.
I felt
thing
like
I
the
have.
setup. But I don't...
Huh?
I'm so confused, that felt like the punchline of a joke. Help.
It was, cause
Oh.
the saying is watch pots never boil.
I know.
Because you're watching water boil.
Man,
So riveted
Shut
right
up!
now.
Listen.
sleep deprivation. Let's go, boys.
Shut up, okay?
Yeah,
Listen,
shut
I
fuck.
didn't say it was good. Okay.
Anyway,
Then the Wanderer feature. So, do I need to remind you of what the feature I have? It says that I can find food and fresh water for myself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land offers very small game, water, and so forth. So, and I
Give
can call.
me a survival check.
whoa.
By the way, I leave the skeletons behind to protect the camp.
Is
Okay.
Delarian helping me? Do I get advantage?
It depends. Delarian, give me a survival check.
That's
Survival.
9, 10, 11,
Let me see,
12,
what do I have in... Oh, I actually have +3.
14.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a 9.
We both roll 9s.
Mm-hmm.
9!
9!
What was your roll? 14. Well, Dolarian doesn't seem too well versed in the art of hunting. He hits a couple too many branches, but you can walk around that. He's not too much of a burden.
Nice.
In fact, you use him at some point to just sort of clomp through the forest, driving game away from him and straight into your arms. This way you manage to catch 2 rabbits that have oddly bleached skin, oddly bleached fur, and very, very long teeth.
Oh. Like, worryingly long?
Like carnivore long? Or...
How long is worrying to you?
Well, I mean, I'm obviously not concerned that their teeth are gonna grow through their skull because we're about to fucking kill them anyways. I mean, like, worryingly long in the sense of, like Alavan just said, these are not, like... Do their mouths have more teeth than general rabbits?
They're roughly well, it's technically only 2 fangs that are that long. But they are as long as your index finger.
It's the
That
rabbit
is,
from the
how
Monty
big are these
Python.
fucking rabbits?
Canines.
The size of your hand.
They're pretty much the small of a fat cat.
Guys, we found Banicula!
Huh?
You don't know about Banicula? It's this book series about a vampire rabbit.
Oh, I will look
It's
into
for
that.
children.
Oh yeah, Banicula.
In terms
Anyway.
of water, your search is a little less fruitful. Though there are trees, obviously, vegetation. You don't find any animal tracks leading to watering holes. But after a good hour of searching, you find a cave A very, very small droplet of water drops down this small cave repeatedly, making a miniature river, as small as you've ever seen. But you could probably collect some water here, fresh and
Probably
clean.
a good idea considering.
Collecting the water takes you roughly another hour, unfortunately, through the sparse visibility of the resource. The others, do they do something in those 2 hours that they are out foraging?
Refill
I'm
the
just
pot.
gonna poke one of the skeletons repeatedly.
Okay.
That's just it. I'm
How hard?
just slightly, just like tap. That's an attack. Just punch it. Bam.
Okay.
I'm just gonna tap its head and see how it
After,
reacts.
well, it doesn't react at all. But after your like 20th tap or so, it slowly cranes its neck towards you and just looks at you.
No, stop.
Do you keep tapping?
No, I'll stop.
After a few seconds or so of you not keeping the tapping going, it turns its head back and just looks back into the forest. It looks in the same direction, in fact, that Rune and Dolarian are now returning to camp.
I will ask Draco if he needs help this time butchering the meat so that he doesn't make a mess of it.
Why don't you show me how to do it with one of them, and then I'll try and do the other one.
Thought the last two you made was fine.
It's about wasted resources. Yeah, I'll show him how to do it properly.
So, Frank, how's your butchering skill?
Whenever you're ready.
You what?
I don't.
Mm. The only thing I know is the little bit Telsa taught me during our journey.
Which is probably like
Yeah, basically nothing.
basic.
Oh yeah, we went to a pub one time.
You saw some berries sometime and decided to eat them.
Yeah.
They tasted pretty okay.
It tasted
No, like
pretty
I knew this butcher once that like.
Yeah, he cut some meat for me and I watched.
Rune, please give me a sleight of hand roll on your butchering.
He showed me his beef.
Is that not survival?
Only after.
Oh whoa.
You
No,
can roll
it's bigger,
survival
like-
if you're better in that.
Can I roll survival?
Yes.
God bless. Okay, then that's an 8.
Well, the hide of these rabbits is tougher than you had expected, and expectedly, since they're rabbits, there's not a lot of meat on them. The meat is tough and gamey. It'll require a good amount of cooking. But
Luckily, we're making it stew.
very slowly and carefully avoiding the very long teeth of its mouth, you manage to take apart the rabbit.
First of all, I'm gonna take the fangs for myself and suggest that we maybe, if we have, I don't know if we have the resources to like keep the hides and not have them rot and be disgusting and horrible. I'm also going to raise a minor amount of concern over the fangs and tough hides, because that probably means that these things have evolved to be less huntable and thus... Oof. There are things in the
Oof,
forest.
good- yeah.
I mean,
Oof
these
size large.
yeah, these look more like predators than prey, don't they?
Where are their eyes on their head?
Where they would be regularly.
they're still prey position-eyes, but I'll agree with you. They look dangerous, and I loathe having to call a bunny dangerous.
Maybe the plants down here are not as edible as the ones on the surface. Maybe they had to adapt to another lifestyle.
But you need flat teeth for plants. You use fangs for cutting meat.
Yeah, that's why
Are
I
they
said
pointed?
they cannot
Yeah.
eat plants, so they had to switch to meat.
Still, carnivorous rabbits does not perhaps bode well.
Regarding your question of keeping the hide, you could keep the hide for a bit if Moment, for example, would clean it with prestidigitation. However, unless you tan the hide or actually preserve it, it'll probably rot in a few weeks.
Probably not worth the space.
If you give me an hour, I can make the appropriate tools.
I'm not exactly super proficient at this skill. It was just a force of habit thought, I guess.
I mean, if you want to, I could do it. Not really a problem, it just might take some time. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's tools.
I mean, again, it's not about... I don't believe that you can't do it. I don't know if I have the skill to use them.
Do you mean like, you want to make something out of them? What's the end goal?
Force of habit preservation, I suppose. Hence my willingness to leave it behind. It was a thought born of... Gosh. Where I come from, it's habit to use everything. Always, forever. And it's just force a habit down here to see something like this and be like, oh, we should keep that just in case. But actually, I think that's the worst option. What the fuck are we gonna do with it? None of us know what we're doing with that kind of a thing, I assume. It's not like we're gonna be trading down here much or anything. I doubt it'll be good for much, so just probably better to discard it or something.
Maybe Telltale needs another patch for her clothes.
Not at the moment. Just like eyes the... Also, I don't wear fur.
I don't wear fur.
The boot.
Draco, do you try to copy the butchering
Yes,
of
I will
the
use keen mind. Because I have keen mind.
Do you have keen mind though?
Before we start, you have key mind.
Actually, yeah, I do.
You watched closely. For you, it's less of a experience thing. You try to just repeat the exact motions. Please give me a sleight of hand check.
A flat roll of 6.
Well, you try to wield the knife as deftly as Rune did. But even Rune was already slow with the tough hide and the tough meat. And you clearly struggle with it. It takes you a while. Your knife, maybe it's just blunt, maybe you're just not holding it right, but you're just ripping the meat off the bone more than you are really cutting it off the bone.
I'll try to like give him like pointers, kind of, but I won't like try to interfere very much. Just if I notice that they're like he's doing something really wrong, we might be like, no, you
Seeing
gotta
the
hold it the other way.
seeing the two butchered carcasses next to each other, you didn't do that good of a job. There's clearly some bits and pieces of meat left on the carcass. But you feel a lot better when you look at Draco's, because it looks more like an animal had ripped the meat from the bones.
He do better than last time.
Is that true?
He did not.
Oh. I was about to be proud of you. Such a shame.
But you also did a lot worse than last time.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Oh,
One.
I have to go do something real fast.
I suppose Draco put the meat
Two
in the
seconds.
stew.
Put the meat in
I'm
the
reading
stew.
criticize him, so he's feeling pretty chuffed about it.
The fur.
Yeah, you put the meat in the stew.
And the turnip.
Give me an intelligence roll.
Oh boy. I'm good at this, so hopefully the dice don't screw me over. 10.
10. Okay. Well, you know that rabbit meat is a little gamey, so you take your time to season it well and cook it for a long time. And after a few hours of the others presumably already settling down for their rest, you finish your stew.
In a few hours, I would like to use my right tools for the job feature. Make leatherworkers tools. Preserve the rabbit hides.
Your leatherworkers tools will enable you to clean the hide and make it workable if you were to make something out of pelt. However, it will not let you turn it into leather, as you are still missing certain chemicals and, well, one thing that's very necessary for making leather, which is a tanning rag and the sun.
Damn.
Opinion.
The sun.
Yeah,
That's my
hence
main
I
stuff
being
I
like,
thought.
we shouldn't. I want to like also say I didn't eat the stew. I ate one of my own rations or something. Like, I'm not touching that if there's the turnip in it.
Yeah, there is.
It's not happening.
Okay.
Watch this come back to bite me later, but I do not trust that turnip, and
It's a magic turnip. Why would it be malicious?
Those of you who eat the stew,
Yes.
it doesn't taste as good as the last one. It's a little gamey. The meat is still a little tough, and missing the carrots. It tastes tastes very nippy, very turnipy. But yeah. As far as the
I
rations
let
go on
Draco.
travels,
I let Draco explain me why it tastes different, so I know what happened, and I try to understand what's going on while cooking.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't have any carrots this time, which they lend their own flavor, but they also add a bit of sweetness to it. So it sort of makes it like a more rich, sort of rounded experience. Also, our milk went bad several days ago, so I couldn't put any of that in. And ultimately, it's just sort of less to make it more well-rounded, so it's more focused into the aspects that we did have, which aren't that great.
Yeah, Dolarian just nods the whole time and looks like he's making a bucket. It nods, and it looks like he's making a bucket list in his head just to remember everything.
The biggest thing you missed was salt.
Why would we not have salt?
Do you have salt with you?
I have cooks.
Are you carrying around like? Oh, I didn't know that you had cooking. Does cooking utensils include salt? I wouldn't count salt as a utensil.
I would guess. that if you were
I would
told, you
say
have
that
some
it
ingredients.
is very basic
A
to
rock
have
of salt?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
That's so cool. I did not realize that it's that common. I'm still thinking way back when salt was like a thing that was like used for trade and shit.
He's rich
That's
as fuck.
It's
dude.
probably
even is
very
salt?
valuable, but
Not the time period.
definitely a necessity for a traveling cook.
You know, I don't know. I think that comment's still valid because I don't know if Rune would think it would be super common for like everyone just to have free access to salt.
Bring it up.
That no, I'm making that comment canon, the comment canon where you're like,
Which
I think you need salt because Rune didn't want you to make that thing.
Oh, right. No, I put salt in it.
You have salt with
How
you.
could you have a stew without salt?
You have salt with you.
Yeah. Do you not? Oh, well, I suppose if you're not a cook.
I mean that and salt's expensive.
No, it's not. It's just salt.
We're just gonna look at you like
It's just
in
rock. People mine
disbelief.
it.
Yeah, it's very valuable rock.
No, it's... What? It's mundane.
Not really.
Maybe, do you people not mine?
My people specifically, no, because we're too busy walking over the earth.
Right. So you just don't have
I
any
mean,
salt?
we trade for it, but it's expensive. Salt's sort of like a really important thing.
I think you're getting ripped off. Salt? It's not that uncommon.
Maybe not where you are.
He pulls out like a bag of salt. It's just... I think... How do you flavor your food? Does it all just taste bland?
Rune looks mildly offended. Well, first of all, I didn't say we didn't have it. I said that it was an expensive thing and we traded for it, and thus I was surprised that you have quite an amount like that. It's not something you really think about that much. Second of all, we have other sort of ingredients, Mr. Turnip and Rabbit Stew. Fucking...
What do you use instead of salt? Pepper?
Listen, you daft child. We have salt.
They also find a variety
Right.
of herbs in the forest.
Yeah, we have. Did we or did we? I like to think that we did.
Well, your tribe did.
Tried did.
Dolarian, still making that bucket list in his head, is asking, is that the kind of salt you make like out of rocks, or is it the one you make out of seawater?
It's rock salt.
Oh,
I didn't live near a coast, so most of
Have you ever been to the ocean?
I've seen pictures of it.
Oh my god!
Like drawings.
By the stars, child. What?
You only use
How do
salt
you
for really
live?
fancy parties.
No, we use salt to preserve stuff.
But then it would be too salty.
Yes. Oh, you're right. I'm just gonna go back to my tribe who barely has enough resources to survive most of the time and tell them that their food is too salty. You're right. Fuck survival. This is about enjoyment.
Why are you surviving when you could just live somewhere with lots of salt and food and buy it?
Clearly, you've never heard of the idea of having different cultures.
But if you're struggling to survive, why are you doing it?
Because that's who we are. It's our culture. It's our religion. Our people have died for this way of life, but we're not about to just abandon all of it because it's a little difficult. Walking the earth, continuing the cycles that have been laid out for generations untold, is our way of life. And yeah, it's difficult and it's hard, and we lose people and get attacked and starve and freeze and all of that, but it's who we are, and we're not going to let anything stop us. Living in a city might be easier, but what are we giving up to do that?
Starvation.
What are you
Being
giving up to
attacked
do
by
that?
bandits.
Our identity? Everything that matters to us?
You're not defined by where you live.
No, we're defined by the practices we keep. Traveling... I have to admit, I don't know everything. A lot of our history was lost during the war and in the massacre that occurred. We don't know everything that we once did, but there are certain things that we do know. There were reasons that we walked these paths. There are reasons that we live the way we do, honoring the earth and nature and all of that, and it is who we are.
Do your people have scriptures, or do they keep their history from person to person?
We have a story keeper. They're the ones who, I mean, we all know some stories, but they're the history keepers, I guess. When we make promises or trade deals, we have the promise keeper make notes or copies, but my people don't really have a standard written language. It's the only one that can read our writings, our promise keepers, and the story keeper. I can't tell you a lot of what our own personal sacred language or the language of the text that would hold these things say. We have a written language amongst the rest of us that are used for trade and math and that kind of a thing, but the actual records that hold these stories I wouldn't be able to read. So, in a way, yes.
You have your own written language, your own letters, or do you use the common ones?
We don't, if you can't tell, common's not exactly my first language, or second or third, but it's a mix where I'm from. It's mostly primordial. A lot of us are Genasi. So use usually that script, but the script of the story keepers and the leader and stuff are something unique, our own thing.
Do you have any songs?
Yes. Why wouldn't we? Singing's a very proud tradition for us. It's something we do a lot.
Can you sing us a song? Maybe Telsa can play the melody for you.
Ooh.
Yes. I'd love to learn some songs.
I could show you if you're interested.
Very.
Oh. Okay, Bruno has to borrow Telsa's lute to show you guys, because out of character, I don't have any music made up, but imagine that there's like actual
lolly,
stuff
lolly,
and
lolly,
Bruno
lolly.
can play the lute, so yeah, they'll yeah, just Mongolian.
Is it something? Is it something like that, or?
No, I imagine it's like storyteller singing, kind of like where
It's going down.
it's not timber. I swear to God. Yes, we all sing Kesha. Rune's tribal music is Kesha. Clearly. No, I imagine it's like it's very like folk songy. Obviously, you can kind of tell like. I guess we're gonna do like one or two kind of songs, so you can sort of tell that there's like influences from other cultures. No.
Yeah, it's country music.
I literally said like folk song music.
That's the same, right?
Think closer to like Celtic music.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of in like beat and like repeating kind of like trills and patterns.
A lot of bagpipes.
And fiddles.
I'll say most of it's probably either in Sylvan. The two that they show you, one of them isn't common and one of them's in Sylvan, and Rune says that they're not that they would translate it, but it wouldn't rhyme anymore, so it would probably sound really bad. So they just do it in Sylvan. So Telsa probably understands it.
Yeah.
And I do have these stories, but I don't want to take up a bunch of time. So if you want to hear the stories that are being told, I'll tell them. But if you just want to like move on and just be like, yeah, Rune sings for you, that's okay too.
If you've got them in text form, I'll read.
I don't have them in, well, I have the clip notes in text form, but I'm working on typing them up.
I see.